Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, girl.
What's up? This is the We Missed It podcast on IntellectualRadio.com. I am Chrissy Johnson, co-host, and we are with Tricia Cox.
Ooh, that sounds so harsh than my name, Cox. Dang, I'm like, did you take me back
Girl,
to
listen, I am out of practice, as you can see.
Wow. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday to everyone. And for some of you, this is probably afternoon. For some of you, this may still be morning. But again, this is the We Missed It podcast. If you listen in and want to provide commentary, notes, have questions, want to send anything, you could reach us at wemissedit.podcast@gmail.com. Also on IG, we are wemissedit.podcast. And on Facebook, we are We Missed It, a podcast. Whew, been a minute, girl. What's up?
Nothing much. Just, the day-to-day. How are you today? You look beautiful.
Oh, well, thank you. It was kind of dull here today because we had like threatening rain and it's been humid. So I said, well, let me put on something to make me feel a little more lively.
Well, you succeeded. You look lively.
We have super producer Wanda B here, girl.
Wait a minute, Chrissy. 1 second. Okay, go ahead.
You hear me?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
There was some feedback on my end from the YouTube. Go ahead.
Okay, no, I was just saying we have super producer Wanda B here today. You know, we haven't had her.
Wanda, you've been missed.
Same here, but I can listen to y'all. I can't listen.
Right. So anyway, I was just happy to see her, and I was giving her kudos. She had taken a trip with a friend, and they had a wonderful time. And I don't know if you noticed, but Jimmy Kimmel. They were at Jimmy Kimmel, and the whole audience sang "Happy Birthday" to Earl. You know, I think he's a Virgo. Is it Virgo or Leo? He is a Leo. Okay, I'm the Virgo. Okay, anyway, I just want to know how many points she scored with that. Because, that was like right on time,
Scored with who? Earl? Oh, they're not on a point system. They straight. That's you. That's you trying to still build points.
Wait a minute, you said they're not on a point system?
What system? Why you want to put her on a system? She's straight. Earl has told you that he's straight. This is your stuff that comes up, not theirs.
I just thought it was so great. I'm like, girl, how many points did you score with that move? But anyway.
Did she laugh?
She did. No, but here's why. But let me tell you why it was so funny, because I told her, we're here every 2 weeks. So, I mean, it's not like I know Earl super well, but we were getting to know each other. I said, girl, I don't get a lot of emotion from Earl. I don't get too much from him. So if to see him really be pleased and moved by something, that moved me.
You are silly today.
Listen, girl, she agreed. She was like, I agree.
You are in rare form today.
And then I was laughing because when I came up here, the door was locked. It's generally secure, but I usually can get in. So I told Wanda, I said, I don't think anybody's there. And I called Earl. He said, why would I not be here? I was like, oh, peppery this morning.
You know how Earl get out.
I know.
He's like,
right.
He's like, oh.
You said the right thing. You know how Earl gets down. So that's good.
Exactly.
That's good. Yeah, okay.
Earl is not here for the foolishness.
Listen, girl, Earl ain't playing with these people. But anyway,
with us.
With us, right.
We part of the people.
Right.
We the people of the podcast at IntellectualRadio.com family.
Exactly.
He's not in the mood.
Girl. Right. And he lets you know. Mm-hmm. She said, no, that's his normal mood. I said, I can get it because my dad was the same way. My dad was just like that.
Yes, but that's why she don't need no points. She knows her person.
She know what's up, right? And we always talk about that, don't we, Tricia? Know your people. Got to know your people.
Yes, you got to know your people. But tell her what I'm impressed with is that she had a friend that was able to travel with her.
Yes, that is very impressive these days. Yeah. See, she said she had the foursome. he tried to cancel the day of. I don't know how much you can hear her, so I'm repeating.
Oh,
Yes, girl, I get you. I get it. I get it. I get it.
well, listen here.
Girl, listen, she said this is year 6 and this is the first
Amen.
time.
Amen. Amen.
Y-
It's just that there's been a shift in the atmosphere, and it is good.
And it's a good shift. I really like that. Yep, I like
Yes.
it. Um,
Yes. So applause to you and applause to Earl. You have brought joy to the podcast. We missed it, family.
yes, yes, you did. And it was just good to see. Seriously, Wanda, it was. I was happy to see Earl happy because he doesn't show a lot of emotion. And I know that doesn't mean he's unhappy, but just some men are just, he's cool. He don't do all that. So I was like, oh, he's like visibly happy. I'm like, oh, wow. Anyway, Teresa,
He hears y'all. He watches.
okay, we'll move on.
Earl,
But
you know how Christine is. You know how she gets to talking sideways, Earl. Make
then
sure you're noting.
wait, girl. Wanda says, what are you all talking about today? And I'm thinking to myself, now she know God doggone well we don't know where this is going today. So I
She
said,
don't know. She doesn't know. She
she's like,
doesn't
oh,
know.
do
Why
you
would
give
she
it
know?
afterwards? I'm like, yes, we do. And then I said, well, I had to come up with something. So I was like, well, parenting parents. How about that?
It's really about caring for yourself, caring for others. All of that.
All of that
Switching
good stuff.
roles,
Girl.
look, switching roles, switching 4 lanes.
That's right. Switching it up.
And I guess really when I thought about it, what we're gonna be talking about is what our summer was about, right? Because most
You know
people,
what?
their summer,
Actually, you are right. That is
I know,
that is correct.
right? Because most people, when they're talking about, oh, what did you do, with your summer or the last month or two, we officially can make sure that we put a stamp in the passport that our summer consisted of working and taking care of family and losing track of time and now realizing that it's fall.
Right.
So we did nothing.
And really realizing that we're short for me, let me speak for myself, short on patience for the BS.
Well, yes, you are short on patience for the BS, but that's because again, you've had
Yeah, it's a reason for
no
it.
thing
Mm-hmm.
poured into you. You've been pouring out, and
Yeah.
so you are officially depleted. However, in true Christine form, you look damn good doing it.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
That's right.
I really do. Thank you. Because I mean, I
Yeah.
it's funny
So,
because I don't feel that way all the time. And a lot of times when I get on here, I look at you, I'm like, wow, she looks great. I'm like,
well, you see,
I
today
tell
you had
myself,
me have to
you
come
need
with
to
the
get
whole
yourself
uniform.
together.
What? Look, but today I came straight from work with the outfit.
Yeah,
So we
I
good.
got you. I
Yeah.
got you.
Yeah. But you know what? This is really where we started. So this is very nostalgic.
Uh-oh, we lost her again.
Super producer and taking us in and getting us ready a year of conversation. And we came into the podcast talking about wanting to discuss how many things in our life we woke up and realized, wow, this thing here could be done different if we had only known. So I think we're still there. That's the theme. But I think the difference is what we're experiencing because we have been doing the work. We're very clear about what it is we are doing and how it's affecting us. And so that's really what the share is for this week.
I would have to agree with that. And
No sound.
oh, she can't hear me, Wanda.
I didn't change anything. I can't. I don't. She can't hear you. I can't change. I mean, I don't know what to do mid-straight. We're in the middle of the broadcast. Keep talking though, because
Okay.
everybody else at Intellectual Radio can't hear you.
Okay, I got it.
And she's watching.
Okay.
She's
You're
back.
back on.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Yeah.
So just a few little, I don't know, little glitches today. But anyway, one of the things that just want to call this out real quick because it was kind of funny. I don't believe I told you this, but one of the things that made me realize that I was short on patience. And I earlier I said for the BS, really what that meant for me was that it probably wouldn't be BS if I wasn't so depleted. So I gotta call myself out. Did I tell you that I met a guy and I thought possibly he was like a 40-year-old virgin? I can't.
She laughing.
What is it?
Wanda. I don't think it's too many times that Chris get me to just be speechless, but I just had to look at her. Wanda, first of all, that heifer no, she ain't said nothing to me about meeting no
No, I
guy.
didn't.
And
No.
then
Here.
wait a minute. 40-year-old virgin at that. Please do tell. Do tell. I'm all ears.
Wait a minute. I
I'm
just
plugged all the way in.
hold on, Wanda. I do want to say this. I really couldn't remember because her and I will talk in spurts and then we won't. I couldn't remember if I told her this. But
This girl here
it got me to thinking. So
about being a virgin again, born again, Christian. Are you going to be baptized for this virginity?
listen, girl, no, but listen. So I met this guy, right? And
Uh-huh.
he was a nice guy. And he was a minister. And
Oh, yeah. Okay.
he was like, listen, girl, just hear me out on this because I was just shocked. And I was just like, and there's a pattern going on right now where I keep meeting men that are like religious, pretty like not just average religious, but pretty, heavily into religion. And so when I met the guy, we just kind of started talking, just friendly talking. And he was like, well, can I call you? And I was like, well, I don't know. I think he gave me his card and I think we did some kind of Facebook something. I don't even remember, but it was something on Facebook. Maybe I shared my profile or something. I don't know. Anyway, he started hitting me on Messenger. And I don't look at Facebook enough. So I was like, oh, well, you know what? You've passed. I'm thinking to myself, you didn't pass the test just for at least talking. Let me give you my phone number because if you think I'm going to be going to this Messenger all the time,
Right.
that's not going to happen. So I gave him my phone number. So as I got to know him a little bit better, he said to me, I've never really had a girlfriend. My bottom lip dropped. Just the way you got speechless when I asked you if I told you this. My bottom lip dropped. And so I started going through a series of questions to try to uncover how old he was. And the reason it's really bad is because to show you how short on time I am and how I really am measuring things I do, how about I didn't even look at his Facebook profile? Never went. So here I am.
That's shocking to you?
Yeah, because most people look you up and Google you and all this, especially if
Well, first of all, let's just bring it back, come rewind real quickly. The fact that you even just said that you shared your profile really had me silently waiting for the break in your conversation to say, what kind of new age Felicia? I can't even talk. Like, what is going on with you? We don't share profiles, Christine.
Well,
we give out phone numbers.
Well, but
so, okay, pause.
I wasn't decided that I wanted to talk.
Profile. Okay, so you played it safe.
Yeah.
Were you being cool and current, or were you playing it safe? Like, what were we doing?
No. Actually, what it was I was doing what he asked.
Oh, he asked for your profile.
Now that I think about it, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so my thing is, I think the Christine I know, I'm not surprised you didn't look at his profile. You're not even on Facebook for real. The heck? That poor man was doomed. And if he's never had a girlfriend, he doesn't even know how to do it.
And here's what's funny. He was hitting me up, and I was leaving him hanging for like a whole day, maybe even a day and a half, because it's not even on my phone. So it's like I have to go back home and go to the iPad to even see this.
So he had no chance out gate.
Wait a minute.
Last time you and I talked about a man approaching us, Earl told you, tell the man why it's not going to work. Did you tell him?
No, I did not.
No.
I didn't.
Follow no rules.
Right, I didn't.
You just go roll.
But what I did do was eventually I told him, I said, listen, this is not a good way to talk. Let me give you my phone number. So I did do that. And then when we started talking and getting into conversation, he explained to me that he had never really had a girlfriend. And
Okay.
he did, and here's what's interesting though. He doesn't really come off as like a total nerd. He was just saying, hey, I'm not really. And so he said, well, there was this one girl I liked, and then he was talking about her and he realized that he really didn't like her after all, after he kind of got to know her. And he said he was a minister. I knew he told me that up front. So I knew that. The dad is a minister. Then there's a brother in there that's a minister. And after a while, began to keep talking. I asked questions to try to uncover his age without asking. And then finally, one day he said, I'm 42. And I wanted to say, and you're a virgin? I didn't say it. But
Christine Johnson,
I wanted
you
to
went
ask
against
him.
everything that this podcast is about.
I wanted
What
to
are you
ask.
doing?
I wanted to say, are you a virgin?
And
But I,
whisper it just like that on the phone.
wait
Why
a
didn't you whisper? You should have been like, I'm so sorry. I mean, like, just whisper it while you're on the phone.
so bad.
So,
So
so
then,
what happened to our prospect?
well, he just kind of felt. So this is okay. So this is what I got from it. He probably hasn't had like a bunch of relationships, so he was having trouble progressing the communication, and I wasn't helping. But it's because I don't feel like it. I just really don't feel
Okay.
like it. It while we're laughing, it was a sign for me of where I am.
Okay.
That this young man was nice,
Uh-huh.
virgin or not, doesn't matter. This is a nice man who is trying to pursue me. And I didn't have anything.
Okay, so can we go back to the virgin that's been discussed about 5, 6, 7 times?
Yes.
Where would that sit for you as a 50-year-old woman that this man is a virgin? Would you have the ability, even if you did have a little time, to take in this new challenge of introducing him to intimacy, affection, conversation?
I probably wouldn't want to do that, but I would say before deciding that I would like to have probably should have gotten to know him a little better to even understand if that was a good assumption. If that, excuse me, if my cues were halfway on point, I didn't even find that out.
So you were going to do the deduct Franklin. You were about to be that girl and get your Christianity on and be with this good man. You better call him back, girl. You see that thing
Yeah,
might be a
but
nice
it
ride.
made me realize he was having trouble moving the conversation along, and I assumed it's because maybe he hasn't really been dating. And I wasn't.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I could have helped, and I was just like, oh, I'm tired. I don't have time for this. Like, dude, you got to know how to progress.
Yeah, but I just wanted to know. I mean, you haven't yet told me how did that really sit with you, the virgin part, because it's very relevant.
Well, it's very relevant as that is how I started the
40-year-old
conversation. Pardon?
Are you open to a 40-year-old virgin?
On the surface, no.
Oh, okay.
And
okay,
the reason I say on the surface is because I've not tried it, but no. I mean, no.
Oh my God! On today. Oh,
But
Lord.
the fact that I wouldn't help the man when I realized he was having trouble, didn't really know how to get the conversation moving forward, I could have assisted. And I realized I asked myself, I said, well, you could tell he doesn't really know what to do. Why aren't you you could help him. I'm like, because I'm too damn tired. I don't feel like it. I don't want it bad enough. And I just moved on. I mean, I didn't even move on. It just kind of dissipated. I mean,
faded.
and that's
fade
what
to black.
and that's where the comment came from when I said I don't have time for the BS. And honestly, it sounds crass. It may sound harsh and mean, but it made me realize, anything that's not like easy right now, I can't do it. Not personally, not for myself.
Now, I find that interesting. How it's categorized, because I guess I wouldn't really categorize that under BS. That's more like you don't have time really for living.
Okay, see, so that's right.
Yeah, getting to know a nice young man who may turn out to be a nice, acquaintance, is really a living experience, a
Mm-hmm.
life experience, versus BS to me is more like last week when I called you and I said, you know what? I was at my sister's. There was a little gathering, and I had to say to people, listen, women, men, people, if you know that there is an exchange and there is a sincere mistake or a sincere behavior on your part, don't falsely say you're sorry. To me, that's the BS. If I say something and I know that that was my pure intention of behavior, and I say, you know what, I'm sorry. I've been going all week. Don't say you're sorry because you're not sorry, and then let's all serve each other notice about where we are. That to me is more under the BS
I would
category
agree.
because I think we talked about that
We did,
yesterday,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Having house guests, having family around for the holidays, someone is doing something, having a breakdown, needing more attention than you're willing to give. So BS to me is like speaking to somebody who you've known for many years, a man who has interest in you and is so like grateful that they have an opportunity to talk with you and rekindle some interest. And you say, hey, this next couple weeks is a little hectic for me. My mom's not well. I'm hanging out, having to support my niece as well. I'm still working and I just don't have a lot of talk time. And then the person goes into a place of self and says, well, I mean, why can't you respond when I'm calling or what's going on? There's no empathy. There's no, hey, is there something, uh, going on? How's your day? So that to me is more like the BS. The BS is when I'm telling you I'm tired and you
Yeah,
start
and
coming
it's
at
no
me real
signal to
hard.
try to get your point of view or try to meet you where you
Correct.
are.
Right.
Mm.
I think that we really need to differentiate between not allowing opportunity to live life and create life and make it full. Like Wanda going on that wonderful trip with Earl, right?
Now
That's
that's
so good.
living. Right. That's
Right. And he
true.
decided to make time for
He
living.
made time for
Like,
living. So then you're
you
right.
are
The
like,
BS is probably too not the right category for that.
yeah, because you're like my homegirl, like my jam. And I've begged you to do like 10 trips and you've like not done 10 trips. And every time we talk about somebody else doing a great trip, you go, girl, we really should do it. But like right now, you don't have any energy to live life.
Yeah.
And that's what we always talk about is it's really about how did we get here to where living life, spending time with people, doing something that's going to pour back into you and put a smile on your face when you usually aren't smiling, it's still not on the list of hierarchy of
Right.
needs.
It's become too much work. Why is that? That should not
Yeah,
be. That
yeah,
definitely should not be.
yeah. And how do you pick what can show up and offer you up something to enjoy or look forward to or seems even worth the energy? And I think the question becomes, are you waiting or are you looking forward to something showing up? Or are you able and willing to make radical change? And is it not even possible to make radical change? Because that's really what happened this summer. We are not even really in a position to make
Yeah.
the change necessary to revamp that energy.
What I think is that last year I was in a different place. I was in a place where I would make the changes. And then the illness with my mom intensified and the time just isn't there this year.
Yeah. So really,
Mhm.
I think it goes
Yeah.
back to caring for other people
Yes.
removes the opportunity, if that's how we manage it, to care for yourself.
Right.
Then the energy, the mindset, the heart, it is too fatigued to pump it into any other direction. So, how do you
There you go.
resuscitate
There you go.
what's lost, or is it even something that can be resuscitated, right?
Yes.
Because there's so much that's showing up. Real talk, there's so much that's showing up when we're taking care of a loved one, especially if there's backstory to things that has been experienced with that person that's not cleaned up. So you have to focus in on the importance of the task, making sure the person is healthy and whole, while you yourself know there's still underlying things that is not totally cleaned up. You may not have accepted the way this person managed you when they were in full health, right? Or in my case, I'll use me. My mom ended up, about 3 weeks ago, having the first signs of hypertension, 212 over 111. That's, headed
That's
into
a
stroke
lot.
world,
Yep.
right? And took her to the emergency room. And from that day, which was, 3 Fridays ago to now, everything shifted overnight. So I joked with you and said, listen, I don't even know how you've been doing this for over many
You
years.
sure did. But I
Because,
appreciated
yeah,
that you kind of got it at that
yeah,
point. I mean, because my telling you and you're experiencing it is something.
yeah,
It's on a different. Yeah, it's
yeah.
different.
I thought it was amazing when I would come visit. And at a certain time of night, you would get on the phone to talk your mom through how to prepare for bed and how to make dinner. And I was like, how in the name is she able to see this room, tell her where everything is, and then get off the phone and go back into trying to manage her night? So that within itself was an amazing feat to me.
Yeah.
Working from home and taking that one little 30-minute hour, hopping in your car, ready to grab a piece of grocery, running to her house, delivering it, and come back. I've seen the amazing feats that you've made, you know what I'm saying, with your Superwoman cape on. But for me, it was kind of new territory to have a very strong Caribbean mother who's still very youthful be so weak and vulnerable and scared. My mother was scared, and I had not seen her fear anything. And it was because of the reality that my grandmother died at 49.
Well, wait a minute. What do you think the fear was for her?
Dying.
But I'm saying it was the age factor or the fact that that's how she felt?
It was how it felt. It was the palpitations of the heart. It was the lightheadedness. It was the inability to speak on the phone without losing the wind out of her breath. It was getting in the shower, not sure if she's going to pass out. So we couldn't leave her alone. I couldn't even walk her from my car to an emergency room door because that was just how badly the body had said, hey, I can't do this any further. And it was also the intimidation and the stress of every time we had to check that blood pressure, she was just nervous and overwhelmed. And I remember that from when that happened to me last year, right? Because I had never had anything like that. So watching that, but the fear also was mostly, what if I get sick, pass out, I can't drive my car, and my daughters are not here, and no one's here to help me.
Yeah, and I'm just here.
So unlike you, I had to move back in for, 10 days? I call it moving back in because I couldn't go home. And then my sister took a business trip. At which point my niece got added in the mix.
So that intensifies it.
So here
That
I
intensifies
am.
it.
Yeah, here I am ripping and running up the street. But I want to make sure I really pin what we learned. One is the same thing that happened to me last year that you worked through with me is the same thing that showed up for her this year. And what the real catalyst was for the issue, because all of the stress tests and the I think it's called Lindsay's test, and all these things are coming back as if there's no real problem that medical tests can show. It was about the depletion of her mind and her spirit because she was worried and has been worried about my sister and my niece and the dynamic of that family unit and some other financial things. And it finally caught up to where the body said, oh yeah, maybe when you were young, you could throw me this stress to the side and just keep it going. But now I'm telling you that we can't do that anymore.
The body's had enough.
Right?
Yeah, she's got
and that's what happened
she's got to make
with
changes.
Me, right? Correct. It was like stress. I heard them say as a silent killer. Well, now because I had experienced it, I'm like in advocate mode. I'm in, what do we call it? Intervention mode, calling lifelines, dialing best friends.
And you can identify it right away. You can identify it, what it was.
So back to my other point that I'm trying to not miss. My mother and I don't have that relationship in which we communicate openly about how she really feels, what she's really afraid of, whether or not she really even agrees or disagrees about how we got here and what can be done to make the change. Can she disconnect herself from being so invested in my sister's, dynamics? And so I had to call the best friend. Listen, I need you to come down here so that not I can run her back and forth on the physical side. I can make sure she's got the meds and the food, but who's going to talk to her to create that outlet for her to talk about what she's really thinking so that we can have a balanced healing for her.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it really realized how much things change when you have these real issues with these loved ones, because I even called you while I was going through it, like, girl, I am 100% plugged in, but this lady can take it or leave it and still acts like my sister is walking around with gold in her hands and heart, and I am running around here with some nickel. You hear me?
And it's overly invested in one spot.
Correct. And I think that really resonated too. I've asked you, especially when we started doing the show, I was like, well, Christine, have you spoken with your mom about some of the things that you thought were missing in the early stages, or things that were, done that made you become, uncomfortable? And you said, well, it's a little too late for that. So where's the balance? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of where I would love to make sure that we talk about it a little bit about how do you self-sustain? How do you provide the barriers and the boundaries so that you can have the heart, the commitment, the focus, and the energy to give the job its due diligence, but then you don't end up being in the bed next to the person?
Well, that's what you want to do. And that was one of the things on another note, but just to kind of it reinforces what you're saying. I had talked to Tamika over the weekend, and she finally, after all these years, said she might have to consider a nursing facility for her grandmother. So now, if she would go there, now that's people listening, that's a good friend of ours who had been taking care of her grandmother with by herself, pretty much, with a lot of issues, and and would be offended if you were to say that maybe you need to put her in a facility. So for her to finally say that, it just shows that at some point it catches up with you. It does catch up. But you asked your question that you just asked, one of them was, how do you make sure that you have the energy to get it done, but make sure that you're not in the bed and laying next to the person? And for me, the main thing I've noticed is where I give my energy. It's where now. I'm way more guarded on what I'm going to give energy to and what I'm not.
Well, that's what you mean about the BS.
Yes. Is
it that we know now because we're over 50? Or is it that because we actually have been transparent and very honest with each other about where the energy is going?
It's that. I think it's both. It's being honest about where the energy has been going, where it went, where it never should have been, where we're redirecting it.
It's about knowing what. Look, it's about not missing that. Look, I'm Wanda. My apologies to the house on IntellectualRadio.com. One of the things that has shown up for me during this process is your girl's mouth is potty.
Yes,
okay?
Mine is too, but mine has always been. I just guard it. I guard it. Well, I guard it. Certain people don't get the guard. Tricia gets it, but some people don't get it. I know I don't know if my Aunt Deborah's listening, but she's like, you always been potty mouth.
Listen, I don't. I do not. I'm a seasonal potty mouth.
This is a potty mouth stage, though, right here, right now, this stage in my life. I'm like, look, but yeah.
Christine, let's just do Caribbean independent raised mother growing up in Roseland. I'm here for the foolish. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, let me tell you something. I'm clear that at this point, when we're talking about not having time for the BS, it's because I know now what I missed and what the hell I'm not going to miss again. So you can miss me, as the kids say, on the bullshit.
So you know where to give the energy and where not.
Listen, my mother is like, your sister needs, and she got to get some food and she's tired. Lady, she better call the doggone Grubhub. I'm not understanding.
And if she's waiting on me, she'll get it when I can get it to her. How about
That's
that?
what we're
We're
talking
not
about.
shut down the whole show because somebody said they was hungry.
Yes.
Although,
So
Wanda, I know you
now,
hungry. I heard your stomach growling earlier.
listen, mine is going to be in partnership with Wanda's stomach, right? We're going to have a whole situation.
Girl.
But so I think that because we knew we missed some things and we started talking about what we missed, how it made us feel, we put the truth on the table. Even in taking care of my family, I called you and said, hey, I took the time, went over to a family member's house and got approached in a conversation. And I said, I'm so sorry, but listen here, people, I'm not interested in your damn conversation. When I come up in the house, if I can't sit, enjoy you all, grab my plate and be on my way, then note to self, I don't need to come back over here until I got time for this.
And I'm not going to allow you to continue to alienate me in my face.
Well, yeah,
and not call it out.
You know what's funny, girl? Oh my gosh! Listen, today I was at my other job. Most people know me to be the hairstylist. They don't know that I have another thing that I do. So I was on the other job, and one of the ladies said to me, "Tricia, you're so funny, and you are so enjoyable. Everything you say, we take it and we think about it and come back the next day." She said, "Your family must just love having you over for dinner and all events. Christine, don't you laugh or cry? Don't you cry while you're laughing." I said, "No, they don't."
Little does she know.
Little does she know. I'm invisible in that crew.
Yes, yes.
They looking like, why is she even here? That girl doesn't match. So it's like when we were kids and they had that little thing. One of these kids is doing his own thing. I am
You
doing
are
my
that.
own
Yeah,
thing.
you're that kid in your family. Oh, absolutely.
Exactly. So it's funny to me.
They don't get you.
What? So hence I got my sister Christine Johnson inherited because the people are like, what is going on?
What is this girl? Who is this girl?
Yes. So I'm apologizing to everyone off rip because I know that I'm no longer holding in things that I would be careful to say because I don't want you to get upset or get your feelings hurt. I'm not thinking about you or your feelings. We're gonna put it out here. This thing is landing.
That's where. Okay, so that's what happens though when you become just mature, a little bit tired, and not so concerned with what everyone else thinks. You know, not worried about what you think about me.
So over 50, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm standing in it like I'm in the mid 50s and I'm only a year out of it because I'm like, what in the name of him who I serve is this bananas? I only have so much time to be awake, so much time to be productive, so much time to be all the list of things. And I'm not interested in becoming dark energy, depressed, hanging on to the prayer cloth too long. I don't want any of that. And I think that's kind of,
and you'll call it out immediately. Like you don't sit there and wait for it to happen. As soon as you feel it, like, oh, here we go with this BS again. Let me just let them know I'm not down for it today.
But I want to say to the podcast family, what I did take away from it and what I learned, and I'm very happy to say and proud of, is that when we dive into the things that began to show up for myself, especially from the time my grandmother died at 12, I was 12, she was not 12, and we moved past a couple different age, groups. Christine and I have revisited. One thing that was a common thread throughout the whole process was I was always easily wounded. Mm-hmm. Easily wounded. I always felt very defensive and very offended and very much like I was always having to protect myself from being viewed the way my family was, viewing me or other people. And so I love that what has evolved because I have accepted the things that's showing up, willing to talk about it, willing to write about it, willing to, get into it. I no longer have that energy and I no longer have that, emotional conversation. When I'm saying that I don't want any of the garbage, I'm having a conversation just the way we're having the conversation. And for me, that's an evolution that we never saw coming. Because remember, my people, Geraldine and some other people, Tamika, who we just talked about, they have begged me, could you just like cuss at us? Because the way you serve up the stuff, it looks so articulately.
They like
It
it.
sounds like, right. And they were like, you make us feel like we are this little. And I would be putting everybody in the same box. I'm pissed at all y'all at the same time when one had nothing to do with the other. So part of this journey of talking about what I missed, how we missed it, what it is that we've had to put the work into, what has shown up for me, especially in this last couple of weeks, is that I have now the interest and the patience and the ability to communicate what I have to say in a way that is cool and peaceful, and I can tap out and keep it pushing.
Yeah.
And in regards of what will keep me going, because let's talk about the mistakes we're making. Let's talk about being late for work back to back.
Being late for work, missing payments. I missed a court appearance in the beginning of the month, and now I'm having to get documentation together to make sure I can, use an argument for, getting a reprieve. Girl, I've missed my mortgage, on accident. This is accident now. This is not like because I have lack of funds.
Well,
this
correct.
is being.
Look, drove out to work, drove all the way to work, and left my whole badge at the house. And
I was going to say mistakes.
Right?
That day I was talking to you. I don't know if you realize this. I think I did tell you I locked myself out the house. Just a lot of little mistakes are happening because you're so preoccupied and so busy trying to make sure you get everything done, the things that must be done, making sure you get everything in that has to, that is required. And this is the other thing. Now, I'm sensing this may not be happening to you, but I told you this for me. The other problem that I'm having is that between work and then caring for mom, I'm so busy that when I do have a few minutes, it's almost like I'm stunned. I don't even know what to do with it. It's like something comes over me and it's like I just sit there and I'm not doing anything.
You mentioned that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you blank out. You don't even know where to go back and pick the task list up.
Exactly. And so what I've had to do now to try to avoid that is start making lists so that when that happens and then you stop and you're like, oh my goodness, I have a few minutes. What can I do? I literally have to go to the list and say, oh, you need to do this. You need to do this. And it's interesting because I've never been that person.
Do you give yourself permission sometimes to actually just be still?
Oh, of course. That I do. Okay. And then after I've done that and I'm finished, I'm like, well, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? Okay, Deborah keeps calling me. Hold on a minute. Only reason is because I'm thinking Deborah. Maybe she's taking care of my mom. Yes, dear. Yes. She says, you all haven't been looking at the comments. I've been commenting all morning. What have you been commenting on since we can't see them, Deborah?
Tracy is right here. I don't see anything.
We don't see any comments. Miss Wanda B on the YouTube. On the YouTube channel.
I'm looking at IntellectualRadio.com. I don't see any of her comments.
We missed it.
Oh, you're in the emails.
Yes, I'm in the thing.
Oh, okay, Deborah.
Hold on,
Deborah. What's happening?
She said, hold on a minute. Hold on. She said, what's happening? She's saying hello, basically.
I said, hey, Deborah.
But anyway, first of all, I wrote to you all the name of the song is called Break My Soul.
She said the name of the
song is called Break My Soul. You want to break my soul. You want to break my soul. That's what you heard. Right?
Oh, Beyonce, you won't break my soul.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's what song she was.
And then Tracy, she said that you don't bring out the ratchet at her, and yes, you should feel some kind of way. You should feel some kind of way.
Say again, Deborah.
She said that she doesn't bring the ratchet out. You don't bring the ratchet out in her, and you should feel some kind of way, because she's ratchet.
Well, Deborah, I know that your niece is ratchet. I told her yesterday, Deborah, that if she ever starts to really be fully herself on this doggone podcast, we can really get out. But she blanks out on me and goes back to being Christine, the poised Christine. I'm like, Christine, you've been taking care of your mama for
What I've been trying to tell her is that you all need a phone line. Because see, the aunt called.
We have a phone line.
But you won't give me the number.
You can call right now, 708.
Wait a minute. Well, I'm not writing stuff down. I'm getting ready to leave the house.
Okay, well, I will text.
Anyway,
Okay, next time, but
text
let me
me the
give it to
number.
you. It's 708. I'll text it to you as well. 223
Mhm.
8953.
Okay.
Christine, you were
So
called
text
out on a
that
good
to me.
Sunday afternoon.
Right.
And I had asked Chrissy if she would please buy me some of those Beyonce jeans. Because I decided that
Now that's from
when I have
wait a
them
minute,
on,
maybe Miss Wanda B. That's from another podcast.
wait a minute, I'm aware of them. And then as my theme song is going to be, my body's bootylicious for you, babe. I don't think you're ready.
Girl, we're not wearing those jeans. But yes, you
The
can.
chaps.
You can.
The
Yeah,
chaps
the
with the
chaps
booty out.
with the booty
With the
out.
booty
Yes,
out.
but yes, you can
Okay,
call
yes,
in next time. But
Yes, will you please buy those for me?
Yes, I
And
will
then
get you a pair.
The other thing that I wanted to tell you all is that I am a queen, but I'm not telling you about what I'm getting because then you're going to want something.
Okay, you got to explain that comment, Deborah, because we're lost.
Because you all were talking about conversations about people's penises and who's good in bed and who's not. And I'm just
I'm hanging up this. I can't do this. Listen, listen, Deborah. That's enough. That was 3 podcasts ago. We didn't.
That was today's podcast.
That was not today's podcast. You're on the.
I thought I had turned into the day.
No, you on the wrong. See, she's on the wrong podcast, girl. Commenting on the wrong podcast. Deborah, I will call you when I say finish. Goodbye. Bye.
Well, I think that
everything. No, here was the funny thing. Everything that she's referencing is from a past podcast. It was the one we did. She's and she doesn't realize that she's on the wrong podcast. Right. She's not on the right podcast. I'm like, because we did talk about Beyonce's pants, remember? And we did talk about women. Chaps. We talked about these women. And I don't know, Miss Wanda B, if you do this, but with her and I, and even with my other girlfriends, for the most part, we don't discuss like, do your man got a big D and all that. We don't do that. I just don't get anything out of it. But some women do. I don't either. I don't freaking want to know. But anyway, the point is, she's watching, and then the song "Break My Soul." What happened was, I did open one of the podcasts saying that I had just heard Beyonce, and I loved the song. It reminded me of house music. So she's like way behind. But I appreciate the fact that she does tune in.
Well, I was about to say, I think what we learned today was that she's not the first person who's asked why they can't ever talk to us. It really is good that you're letting them know, because that was a question I was going to have.
People
can we ever open up the lines and allow people to communicate?
I just got to take them off. People have asked, can they call in? And
yeah.
Always give the number at the top of your show.
Okay, I did not know that.
Wanda, Chrissy got to tell the truth. She ain't want to talk to nobody but me at first.
Well, that's not really true. No, we've used the phone when we've talked, because she's out in, and we've had to do it on the phone, but we've never had a caller call in. But I'm more than welcome to. Callers are more than welcome. I don't. Matter of fact, I would embrace that. Anyway, before we were interrupted by a loving aunt listening to the wrong episode. My question.
Hey, she's listening.
That's what I like. The fact that she's yes, exactly, because she's right. "Break My Soul" was the song, and we talked about those chaps. But here's what I want to know at the end of the day. Just curious, because everybody gets it at a certain time, and I think that because we, naturally want to do work in a certain area, we talk about it. We talk about things we've learned. We dissect things. My question for you is this. Do you think your mom will change?
My mom has changed.
Okay, so she has.
Yeah, my mom has changed.
Okay.
So that's why this experience is not as debilitating as it could have been.
Okay.
And I have changed.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, when I say change, I'm talking about with where she's giving their energy.
I don't know.
Okay.
Because she's never been at this place before. So I don't know what she's willing to do and not do to fight for her health. I know she did make a comment, in exchange in a conversation with actually three different people. I can't have this conversation. It's too loud. It's too intense, and you're going to kill me.
Well,
Those were
to
her
me,
words.
that's a change.
That's a change from my mother.
Acknowledging that. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So
yes.
I cracked a joke with her, like, girl, you better go ahead and let these people know what you can and can't do. And that's a change in me and her, because I'm keeping it light, and I'm very, easy with her. She has made sure she's communicated thank yous and how much she appreciates the support I've been giving her. That's a change. So she definitely has made some changes in this process that I see. And I've seen where the changes sit for me as well, in being a lot more guarded and careful with her, making sure she's knowing that my presence is 100% committed to her and her being okay.
Okay.
I can park the bus on whatever it is that was upsetting me before, but I'm willing
Which
to
is
do
what
whatever.
I've done. Which is, yep.
I'm just willing to do whatever is necessary in this moment to make it, completely okay for her right now. And then once I know she's back in, better health and things are managed, if there's something that needs to be revisited, we could do that. But going back to what you said about the BS, honestly, Christine, a lot of things that I thought I wanted to talk about with different people, I don't care anymore.
Well, that's what I mean. You get to the point. I remember telling you before, I would hang in there with people and hang in there because I at some point wanted them to see my point or want them to at least understand where I was coming from so they can give me the feedback if we're not seeing eye to eye. How about it doesn't even matter anymore?
No, because what's the value of it? Really?
I don't even care.
It's not about to impact right now.
I don't care if you don't see things my way. I don't care if you didn't understand my intention wasn't what you thought it was. I don't even care. And it's got to be. Now, there are some people that I do still, will do that with, but you got to be in a certain place in my life. Right now, just in general, I don't give it my energy. I just don't. I don't have it. I don't have it to give.
I definitely know.
Yeah.
I definitely know that that is kind of where I am, and that's what's showing up for me. I sure hate it because you had said something to me yesterday and had asked me something, and I remembered it just before Deborah had checked in with us, and I did want to revisit it with you, but of course, it's a blank slate now because of something that you had asked when we were talking about just self-care. Familial care and, the direction that we're trying to go into to make sure that we come out of this experience okay. Oh, I think I do remember it now. I think you were asking me something. It was something about, I guess, what it is that I've learned the most from it or what. I don't remember.
Okay. And I can't.
It was a really good question that you asked me yesterday. And I really wanted to ask it before we got off the podcast. I wanted to put it on the table because I think it was just really important to, the full conversation overall. Because there are a lot of people who are in situations where they're having to give of themselves to people they have unsettled emotions and feelings with.
Well, of course, you may be a little resentment there.
It's the integrity. You asked me about being late for work.
I did.
You said you were late for work 3 times in a row, Tricia. That is not like you. I said, no, it is not. You said, so what is it that you believe you will do, or how will you be able to stop doing the things that's showing up to kind of, trip up what's important to me? And I said to you, it wasn't that hard. It was really kind of easy because I made a decision that was based on, you said your brother gave you or Mikey gave you the word, on integrity.
Yes.
I realized that in this season,
he said dignity. He said
dignity.
Yep. He said
that
dignity.
My dignity and my integrity meant more to me than my sleep. It meant more to me than arguing with someone, and it meant more to me than a lot of things. So if me being late is something that means something to me, I'm not going to be late. So if that means I have to get up early when I'm tired, I just have to say,
you just
gotta get up. Yeah. And so we talked about that. And I think that's really important to make sure we kind of just, get right into that for a moment about what is it that you do? Like I was calling it radical change, because that's what it became for me. What is it that you will do to reset and reroute what needs to be rerouted so you don't F up your shiggity?
Well, that's what I have to do for work too, because remember now, I'm still, a lot of times it could even be during the day, trying to take care of my mom, and I'm still running a whole sales team, like for real. Like I'm having to have one-on-ones with people, go to customer visits, have meetings, and these meetings, my director may be on them, and I've got my mother in the background sometimes, or sometimes I'm out in the field, and I got to rush back home in between meetings and see what she's doing and do this and do that. So what I've decided, because I think that's a very good question, because things can slip, things can get a little sloppy, uh, you know, uh, letting things go. So what I decided I was going to do for work was I was just going to reprioritize and just be honest and say, hey, right now, you know, I can't do XYZ, but I can make sure all this is done. And I just had to kind of what I would call level up with my manager and be like, hey, I'm in a position right now, certain things I can't do. I can't work at night. I just can't. I cannot work at night. So what you're asking me to do is requiring me to work at night. I don't have it to give. And then I'll let him do with that what he wants to. If he thinks I need to take a leave, maybe I do, because I'm not going to be able to do those things. But these are the things I can do. And so when I came clean there, it did relieve some of the pressure.
Yeah, I know Tamika and I talked about that when she was talking about Granny. She, is an HR manager, and I remember when her boss called and said, "I need you to give up this office because you need to be able to be at home.
remember
And we
that.
will allow you to work from home." And she was traumatized.
Yep, I remember
She
that.
called me and was like, when they said that I had to give up my office, she said, "It is prime real estate," and it made me wonder, were they trying to weed me out? She couldn't even process the value of being able to be at her job doing what she needs to do from home and really still manage her grandmother.
Exactly.
And all the caregivers. So I just think that, that's really important to realize that when something is happening that's showing up that could be of help to us, that will make it more valuable for us, we have to really make sure that we look at it from all angles instead of look at what we're feeling like we're losing, what we're letting go of.
Exactly. And I think too, and I think we all have this in some form. No matter what's going on in your life, uh, a lot of us have a value system where there's a low that we don't go beneath, right? So for you, it was tardy for work. I don't see you being consistently tardy. That's just not who you are. And so I know that's
I appreciate that, girl, because I sure started to forget who I was.
yeah.
I was like, who's this chick? I don't know
So
her.
when you told me, I was like, Tree, really? Okay.
Yeah, you were traumatized.
Yeah,
You
you're
said,
so
I'm sorry,
organized.
the
I
last
was
time we
like,
talked, you said the last
I
time we
know, I
talked,
was
you
like,
said that you were late. What exactly became of that?
I know,
I was
I
like,
did say
what?
it just like that. Then I was like, what
Yeah.
exactly was that about? Because that is so not you. I was like,
You were like,
oh,
and what did that manager guy
right. I'm like, what
say?
did they
And I
say
was
to
like,
you?
oh, let's talk about it. And before we get to closing this day's show, I want to also talk about something else that showed up, and I know we're going to revisit it in the future. These kinds of things are opportunities for us to really see that mirror and know whom we are, not just standing by ourselves, but standing with other people in our background. And so what I mean by that is what I realized was another fragile piece to the puzzle is I have a sibling. And that is a person like you have a sibling that I have to work alongside with to care for my mom in this transition. And the way we see things is different.
Yep.
The
That
way we
definitely
leverage
shows up.
the
Yes.
right. The way we leverage
Yes.
this whole plan is different. And because I've talked with you about the difference in my sister and I, how we talk, the overall relationship with her and my mom, is so totally different. They're more like, really excellent friends. And I'm really truly in a daughter, role. And I said to you, Christine, I have to be very careful and clear because this can cause some real separation in if my mom was really going to be sick long term with me and my sibling. It could cause a fracture. And that would add insult to injury. So I just think that what I really want to say is that what we said from the beginning is that you really have to be able to sit in your stuff, right? Look at what it is you missed the first time and do the work and be honest about what is showing up that may not be great and may just need some tweaking. And you're going to have to make those sacrifices because you want to be able to live and make life living choices, not life surviving choices. And when the world shifts, because I remember saying to my mom just a month ago, Yolanda's having lost a dad. She's taking care of her mom. Chrissy's taking care of her mom. Tamika's taking care of grandma. She lost her mom. I'm like, I'm so grateful that you're in such good health and that's not impacting me. Well, hello.
Within 3 weeks, that whole thing had changed. The foundation has shifted for you. Yeah, I would agree with that. And also, that's the one thing that I think helps me is that my brother and I have the kind of relationship where we will get in there and get a good disagreement, and then we move on. Like for real, we really move on, and I just appreciate that so much because I really don't hold grudges, and it's not anything I've worked at. It was just one of a God-given traits. Like I'll remember something, so I know how to adjust and maybe tweak my behavior, or maybe be guarded about something. But I don't like hate you for it forever or hold you hostage to it. I just make the adjustment and I try to move on. And I'm assuming he's the same way. I don't know. But like what I mean by that is, you know how we had that argument the other day, kind of disagreeing on things, and I told you about it. And after that, no one's missed it. No one's acting different. No one's not sharing food, or you know how you can do things, underlying things to somebody, and it's not because you don't want to share food, it's because you're mad about something else. We actually really, I feel that we really do just move on. We dismiss it and move on. Keep it in mind, but not let whatever feeling it gave us rule the rest of the interaction.
Rule the roost.
There you go. So, Wanda B, what time we was having some technical? It's time to wrap. How long are they gonna talk? Anyway, there was one other thing. I'm not going to go into it, but I do have to tell you because we have to revisit it. Is that remember we were talking yesterday about what would be if we were to build a man? So I did. I built mine.
Girl, yeah. I told you I was ready to do the build a man thing.
I built it, and I got to tell you, I'm not going to tell you now, but certainly we will probably try to open with that next time because if nothing else, it's funny, it gives an indication of who we are. But I guess we are back.
Well, Wanda, if you have you remembered that there was a season in life where they used to say, if you could, build the woman you want. They used to ask the men, if you could build you a woman, what would you want?
She said, yeah.
Well, I was talking to Chrissy yesterday and I said, listen, girl, I think I done figured out I can build me a man based on all of this good learning that we done learned. I think I could create me a little list for the head and some fingers and a hand. So I guess we thought it was so good and funny. I said, well, let's get it. And I don't mean from a physical angle. So this is going to be some good talk.
Not physical at all. So yes, we will revisit that. But I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to remind you that this is the We Missed It podcast on IntellectualRadio.com. I'm Christine Johnson. We're with Tricia Cox. In the future, if you want to dial in, you can dial 708-223-8953. For suggested topics, email us at wemissedit.podcast@gmail.com. And we'll see you on the 13th at 12 p.m. Central Time. Get your glow up. Have a good Sunday.
All right, girl.
All right, girlie. I'll talk to you. All right.
Bye, Auntie Deborah.
She on another girl. She was representing
the west side, the north side.